Ever wonder what truly tests the for better or for worse vow? Turns out it's often for worse. And by worse, we mean someone chewing ice too loudly. We've compiled 49 glorious examples of American marital implosions that prove irreconcilable differences can be hilariously specific. Let's get into this mess. 1. The dishwasher debacle. One man reportedly initiated divorce proceedings because his wife, bless her cotton socks, loaded the dishwasher incorrectly. We're not talking about accidentally washing the cat or trying to sanitize a car engine block. No, this was apparently about the strategic placement of forks and the optimal angle for sauce-encrusted plates. You have to wonder if he provided her with schematics and a laser level. Instead of, oh, I don't know, reloading it himself or just accepting that dishes get clean even with a little chaos, he opted for legal separation. Somewhere, a dishwasher's user manual is probably contemplating its own existential crisis, thinking, I just want to clean things, not end marriages. 2. The human ice chipper. Imagine this, every quiet moment, every attempt at a romantic evening, shattered by the relentless, rhythmic crunch, crunch, crunch. One woman finally snapped, ending her marriage because her husband chewed ice. Constantly. It wasn't just a post-drink habit, it was his life's soundtrack. Movie nights probably sounded like a walrus tap dancing on a frozen lake. She chose sanity over the symphony of masticated ice. I bet she still twitches if she walks past a Slurpee machine. He's probably out there, single and still pulverizing frozen water, wondering why his dates never call back after the first beverage. 3. The FaceTime tyranny. A poor fellow found himself so digitally suffocated that he fled his marriage. His wife had developed an obsession with FaceTiming him, even when they were in the same house, just different rooms. From the kitchen, honey, want coffee? Ding, ding, ding. From the hallway regarding the trash, just a visual reminder, ding, ding, ding. What began as a quirky modern connection became a relentless 24/7 live stream of his domestic existence. He yearned for a moment of peace, without his own face staring back at him from his wife's phone, questioning his very being from 10 feet away. The man just wanted to read a book, not star in a low-budget surveillance film. 4. Miss Meow Cerebrals. In a story that truly captures the zeitgeist, a woman waved goodbye to her relationship because her partner had become singularly devoted to their cat's burgeoning social media career. We're talking daily, elaborately staged photo shoots, hours spent crafting the perfect caption, and intense A/B testing of various feline-themed hashtags. Actual human conversation? That was apparently relegated to the comments section of their lives. She wanted a partner, not a stage mom for an Instagram-famous tabby. She walked out while he was probably agonizing over whether Fluffy's brand aligned better with salmon or tuna-flavored sponsorships. The cat, meanwhile, probably just wanted a nap. 5. The Great Pizza Prohibition. One man encountered a marital red line he simply could not cross. His wife banned pizza. Yes, pizza. That glorious circle of dough, cheese, and endless possibilities declared too unhealthy and cast out from their shared abode. He, quite rightly, viewed this not as a dietary adjustment, but as a fundamental betrayal of all that is good and holy in the culinary world. He chose freedom and a large pepperoni with extra cheese. She can have her quinoa and existential dread. He's got a hotline to Domino's and a smile on his face. Some sacrifices are just too great, folks. 6. Barbershop Blues. A wife called it quits when her husband's newfound passion for a barbershop quartet turned their living room into a nightly rehearsal hall for 4 grown men attempting to harmonize on Down by the Old Mill Stream. The neighbors probably started a petition, or at least invested heavily in noise-canceling headphones. Things reportedly escalated when he tried to teach their bewildered Labrador the bass line, and the group seriously discussed crowdfunding an album titled 4 Guys, 1 Dog, and a Dream. She packed her bags, presumably humming a tune of sweet, sweet silence. 7. Respawn and regret. For one woman, the final level of her marriage was realizing her partner consistently chose virtual victories over real-life connection. Romantic dinners were cut short for raids, anniversary plans were scuttled for server maintenance, and heartfelt conversations were interrupted by urgent shouts of, "Heal me, noob!" she didn't sign up for a relationship where her main competitor for attention was a pixelated dragon. She hit eject on the relationship while he was probably too busy looting a digital corpse to notice she'd logged off for good. May his next girlfriend appreciate his KD ratio. 8. The Frozen Fiasco. Here's a chilling saga. A woman allegedly initiated divorce because her husband disliked the movie Frozen. That's it. Apparently, not wanting to build a snowman or failing to appreciate Elsa's power ballads is grounds for marital dissolution. What's next? Divorce because he thinks Olaf is a bit much? Lady, the cold may not have bothered Elsa, but your standards are giving everyone frostbite. Imagine the custody battle over the Blu-ray collection. He probably now lists must-love animated Disney musicals as a non-negotiable on his dating profile, just to be safe. 9. Mercury made me do it. One marriage imploded under the astrological weight of blame. The wife, it seems, attributed every argument, every forgotten chore, every burnt piece of toast to the capricious movements of the celestial bodies. You didn't take out the trash because Mars is in Gatorade or whatever it is. He finally decided he couldn't spend the rest of his life being outmaneuvered in arguments by planets millions of miles away. Even Saturn was probably like, look, I just have rings, I don't control his sock pairing abilities. The divorce was, undoubtedly, written in the stars, or at least in her daily horoscope. 10. Barely married. Picture this. Your spouse comes home one day, not with flowers, but with a life-size taxidermy bear. He then proceeds to dress it in a pair of Ray-Bans, names it Barry, and gives it a prime spot in the living room. Charming, right? Or utterly terrifying? For one woman, it was the latter. The true breaking point? When her husband suggested Barry join them for the annual family holiday photo, perhaps holding a little sign saying, "Season's Greetings." She opted for a restraining order against Barry and a divorce from his owner. Barry probably got to keep the recliner. 11. The Pudding Green Partition. One woman found her path to marital bliss obstructed by, of all things, a windmill. Her husband, in a stroke of domestic genius, decided their garage should be converted into a fully operational miniature golf course. Forget storing holiday decorations. It was all about perfecting that par 3. After tripping over a loop-de-loop obstacle one too many times, or perhaps being judged by a ceramic gnome for her putting skills, she decided she'd rather have a clear garage than a hole-in-one marriage. He's probably still in there, lining up his next shot, blissfully unaware he's playing a solo game. 12. Fantasy Football Widow. It's me or your meticulously crafted, entirely fictional football team, one wife declared, her patience worn thinner than a ref's skin on game day. Sundays were a blur of stats. Mondays, a maelstrom of trade negotiations and waiver wire anxiety. She issued an ultimatum. The imaginary team, with its star quarterback and surprisingly deep bench, won. He's now probably explaining to his empty side of the bed why his tight end underperformed last week. She, on the other hand, has rediscovered the joy of uninterrupted Sunday brunches. 13. The Great Hoodie Heist. In a saga of sartorial larceny, one man cited his wife's relentless appropriation of his hoodies as grounds for divorce. This wasn't just an occasional borrow and forget. This was a systematic, almost professional-level operation to deplete his entire collection of comfortable outerwear. He probably tried hiding them, booby-trapping his closet, maybe even buying her identical ones, all in vain. She was a hoodie ninja. He's out there somewhere, perpetually chilly, while she's living her coziest life, swaddled in layers of his pilfered fleece. A true queen of comfort. 14. The Plant Whisperer's Woes. A man's marriage wilted when his wife's interactions with their houseplants escalated from gentle encouragement to full-blown Socratic dialogues. What started as a charming, "Good morning, Bartholomew the Boston Fern," soon morphed into her seeking relationship advice from the philodendron and engaging in heated debates about current affairs with the succulents. He reportedly once overheard the ficus giving her surprisingly sound financial tips. He left, realizing he was not only second fiddle to his wife, but also to a rubber plant with strong opinions on interest rates. 15. The Marital Tell-All Podcast. Some couples work through their issues in therapy. Others launch a podcast. One man chose the latter, turning their private marital squabbles into public entertainment. Imagine titles like Episode 7, The Saga of the Uncapped Toothpaste Tube, or Listener Mailbag, Whose Turn Is It to Clean the Hair from the Drain? His wife, quite understandably, decided she didn't want her personal grievances to become sponsored content. She filed for divorce before he could release the season finale, presumably titled, Why My Co-Host Suddenly Quit. 16. Death by Niceness. Here's a real head-scratcher. A man divorced his wife because she was allegedly too nice. Let that sink in. 2. Nice. One imagines his daily agony. Oh, for crying out loud, she made my favorite dinner again? When will this torture end? Sir, it's possible you're confusing too nice with patiently enduring your nonsense. Perhaps she was just trying to gently guide you towards basic human decency. He's probably now looking for a partner who communicates exclusively through a series of increasingly aggressive grunts and eye rolls. Good luck with that. 17. The living room idol. His eardrums and eventually his marriage couldn't withstand the nightly solo karaoke concerts his wife threw in their living room. We're not talking a casual sing-along. This was a full production, reportedly complete with a fog machine, a pulsating disco ball, and a spotlight that followed her every dramatic gesture. He realized he wasn't her adoring fan. He was a hostage audience of one, praying for the power ballad to end. He just wanted to hear the television, not an amateur Cher impersonator hitting notes only dogs could appreciate. 18. Gridiron versus girlfriend. One woman drew the line when her husband, a veritable savant of fantasy football statistics who could recite his quarterback's passing yards from 3 seasons ago, repeatedly forgot her birthday and their anniversary, and possibly which side of the bed was hers. He knew every player's injury report but couldn't recall her favorite color. She finally decided to bench herself from the relationship. He's probably still tinkering with his lineup, utterly baffled by his sudden solo status, while she's celebrating her birthday with someone who actually remembers it. 19. The Canine Chaperone. Romantic dinners for two took an awkward turn when one woman insisted their golden retriever join them on every single date. Imagine trying to propose, only to have Fido mistake the ring box for a new chew toy. Or attempting a seductive gaze across the table, only to be met by the soulful begging eyes of a dog hoping for a dropped morsel of steak. Even the maitre d' probably started sighing when they walked in. She kept the dog, which, let's be honest, was probably the more loyal companion anyway. He kept his appetite. 20. The Ringtone Requiem. A marriage hit its final, screeching crescendo when a man couldn't take his wife's personalized, off-key ringtones any longer. Every call, every text, every notification was an assault on his auditory senses, courtesy of her enthusiastic vocal stylings. The 6 a.m. alarm was a particularly brutal rendition of Good Morning Starshine. The breaking point? When his boss called and his phone erupted into her caterwauling a show tune. He reportedly changed his number, his address, and his marital status all in one afternoon. 21. The Incredible Shrinking Husband, morally speaking. In an act of breathtaking superficiality, a man filed for divorce because his wife gained some weight. One can only picture him, a paragon of physical perfection, never having experienced a bloated Monday or the allure of a second donut. Yeah, right. Enjoy your lonely pursuit of aesthetic flawlessness, pal. She's hopefully out there discovering that her worth isn't measured in pounds. Perhaps while he's busy updating his dating profile to include must have a BMI that defies physics. What a winner. 22. The Psychic and the Paranormal Pizza. One couple's domestic bliss was haunted, quite literally in the wife's opinion, leading her to consult a psychic for every minor household decision. The spirits are adamant we shouldn't buy that brand of toilet paper, she'd declare. Or, our spectral advisor suggests the sofa clashes with the aura of the north-facing wall. Her husband, who just wanted to watch the game and occasionally order a pizza without a seance, eventually decided he'd rather face the unknown alone then debate decor choices with a disembodied entity named Bartholomew from the 17th century. 23. Elvis has left the marriage. One woman finally couldn't believe her husband's unwavering conviction that Elvis Presley was still alive and well, probably working a low-key job at a gas station in Tupelo. Every Friday, he'd apparently make a hopeful trek to Graceland, not as a fan, but as a scout, convinced he'd spot the king buying a fried peanut butter and banana sandwich. Trying to plan a future with someone whose major life goal is to encounter a deceased rock legend proved too much. She told him, "Return to sender. Address unknown." 24. The PowerPoint Inquisition. A man's patience finally ran out of slides when his wife started demanding fully articulated PowerPoint presentations for every single household purchase. Thinking of buying a new brand of coffee? I'll need a 5-slide deck by Cobb, detailing caffeine content, ethical sourcing, and a cost per cup breakdown. What might have started as a quirky way to discuss big expenses devolved into a bureaucratic nightmare for buying a pack of batteries. He probably started having stress dreams about pie charts and bullet points. He chose a life with less documentation and more spontaneity. 25. Bigfoot broke my heart. The elusive Sasquatch became an unwelcome third party in one marriage, leading to its demise. The husband's obsession with finding the hairy hominid consumed their lives. Late-night expeditions into the backyard, whispered discussions about blurry photos of potential scat, and a house filled with plaster casts of what were probably raccoon tracks. His wife, after being woken one too many times by him claiming to have heard a distinctive bipedal gait outside the window, decided she'd rather believe in a stable marriage than a mythical ape-man. He's probably still out there, communing with nature and his own fascinating theories. 26. The temporal tiff. One relationship unraveled because the gentleman firmly believed in time travel and, more specifically, that he and his partner were soulmates reincarnated from the 1800s. While a bit of old-fashioned romance can be charming, she apparently drew the line at his insistence on them both dressing in full 1855 period attire for every single date night. Corsets and cravats for a trip to Applebee's? That's a hard pass. She wanted a boyfriend, not a historical reenactment partner who kept referring to their Uber as a horseless carriage. He's probably still out there, waiting for a DeLorean, convinced she just hasn't remembered their past lives yet. 27. The honeymoon crasher. Picture this. You're on your honeymoon, expecting champagne, roses, maybe a private beach. Instead, your new spouse unveils their surprise guest. His mother. Yes, his mother. Not exactly the romantic third wheel one envisions. No wonder the bride noped out of there faster than you can say family therapy. Imagine the awkwardness of trying to enjoy a couple's massage while mom critiques the therapist's technique or complains that the complimentary slippers aren't her size. This wasn't a honeymoon. It was a hostage situation with better room service. The annulment papers probably cited excessive maternal presence. 28. The pizza protocol violation. In a culinary crime that rocked a marriage to its core, one man was divorced because he ate pizza with a fork and knife. Yes, you read that correctly. This isn't about pineapple on pizza. This is a fundamental misunderstanding of the pizza-eating experience. Watching him meticulously slice through a perfectly good pepperoni like it was a Chateaubriand was apparently too much for his spouse to bear. You can almost hear her screaming, "It's a foldable street food, not a Michelin star entree," as she signed the divorce papers. He's probably still out there, politely dicing his dominoes, utterly baffled. 29. The poll-driven partnership. She walked out when her partner's reliance on online polls to make every minor life decision reached critical mass. Should I wear the blue shirt or the red shirt? Poll in bio. Tacos or sushi for dinner tonight? Cast your vote. Even their grocery list became a democratic process. She craved a decisive partner, someone who could pick a brand of toothpaste without crowdsourcing opinions from strangers on the internet. He wanted public consensus. She just wanted to know what was for dinner without checking Twitter first. Their breakup was probably announced via an Instagram story poll. Should we stay together? Yes, no results. 30. The cinematic commentator. One fellow bid adieu to his marriage because his wife possessed the uncanny and deeply annoying ability to talk through every single movie. No scene was sacred, no plot twist safe from her running commentary. Suspenseful moments, ruined by a loud, "Oh, I bet he did it." Emotional climaxes, shattered by a question about what the actor had for lunch. Every thriller became an unintentional comedy. Every drama, a live-action Mystery Science Theater 3000. He's now likely relishing the sweet sound of silence, possibly even rewatching his favorite films with a newfound uninterrupted reverence, occasionally whispering, "Finally, cinematic peace." 31. The GPS drama queen. Her marriage took a wrong turn and ended when her husband insisted on narrating every GPS direction as if it were the trailer for a Michael Bay blockbuster. In 500 feet, prepare for a left turn, a maneuver that will alter the very fabric of your afternoon commute. What might have been mildly amusing the first time became an unbearable auditory ordeal on every single car trip. She probably started dreading even short drives to the grocery store. Merge onto the highway, if you dare. Eventually, she decided to navigate life solo, without the Oscar-worthy voiceover for every lane change. 32. The hashtagged heartbreak. One couple split when the wife took to live tweeting every single one of their arguments, complete with custom hashtags like husband fail and she was right again. She'd even run polls asking her followers to weigh in on who was winning the fight. Their private disagreements became public spectacles, with strangers offering unsolicited advice and virtual high fives. He didn't sign up for a marriage that came with a comment section and a trending topics page. He just wanted to argue about whose turn it was to do the dishes without it becoming a viral moment. 33. The celebrity obsession intervention. He pulled the plug on the relationship when his partner's fixation on celebrity gossip consumed their entire existence. She apparently knew more about the Kardashians' daily schedules and dietary habits than she did about his. Every dinner conversation devolved into a TMZ-style report on who was dating whom, who wore what, and who was feuding with their assistant. He just wanted to talk about his day, not get a live feed of Hollywood's latest manufactured drama. He needed an escape from the constant spotlight on people he'd never met. 34. The thermostat wars. A marriage froze over, or perhaps boiled over, due to an irreconcilable battle for control of the thermostat. He craved Arctic temperatures, envisioning their living room as a penguin habitat. She yearned for a tropical paradise, where merely existing felt like a sauna session. Their smart thermostat was caught in a perpetual tug-of-war, probably developing its own digital anxiety disorder. If your home appliance needs couples counseling more than you do, it's a sign. That poor thermostat likely short-circuited from the sheer emotional and literal heat of their domestic Cold War. 35. The Netflix password standoff. A woman initiated divorce proceedings because her husband, in a shocking act of digital betrayal, refused to share his Netflix password. Sir, you vowed to share your life, your home, your last Rolo, but drew the line at access to Stranger Things? It didn't have to be this way, she probably muttered, dramatically deleting his profile from her smart TV. Now he's likely stuck enduring ad-supported streaming on some free service, while she's blissfully binge-watching on her terms. Some say love is patient, others say love shares its streaming credentials. 36. The honk-happy husband. She finally put her foot down and then packed her bags because her husband had an unwavering commitment to blasting their car horn every single time they pulled into their driveway. The first time, maybe a quirky, "We're home." The 100th time, as the neighbors peered out their windows with murder in their eyes, less charming. She's now enjoying the sweet sound of silence while he's probably still out there, honking at squirrels, blissfully unaware. The neighborhood association likely threw her a freedom from honking party. 37. The grammar Nazi nuptials. Her love story ended with a red pen when she divorced her husband for being an insufferable grammar perfectionist. Every affectionate text message was returned with corrections. Every heartfelt handwritten note looked like it had been graded by a particularly vindictive English teacher. She yearned for passionate declarations, not lessons on the correct usage of the semicolon. "I love you, but you've used a comma splice" isn't exactly a panty dropper. She wanted a lover, not a live-in editor who circled her typos with glee. 38. The emotional support goat entourage. A man decided his marriage had gone off the rails when his wife began taking her emotional support goat absolutely everywhere. Grocery shopping? The goat was there, probably taste testing the produce. Dentist appointment? The goat was in the waiting room, offering silent, caprine encouragement. While the goat itself was likely a perfectly lovely creature, he found himself constantly playing third wheel to a farm animal. He just wanted a quiet dinner without explaining to the waiter why there was hay in his wife's handbag. Bod romance indeed. 39. The plant personality purgatory. He filed for divorce after his wife not only assigned complex personalities to all their houseplants, but also expected him to engage with them on a deeply personal level. Accidentally bumped into the fern? A formal apology was required. Forgot to water the spider plant? Prepare for a guilt trip worthy of a Shakespearean tragedy. She even started holding weekly family meetings with the flora, complete with agendas and action items. He drew the line when she tried to make him mediate a dispute between the peace lily and the pothos. 40. The case of the cacophonous cruncher. One gentleman decided his marriage couldn't withstand the sheer volume of his wife's chip crunching. Was she eating them with a megaphone? Using industrial machinery to pulverize her Doritos? Whatever the method, the sound was apparently a deal breaker. Chips. 1. Marriage. 0. Before resorting to divorce lawyers, perhaps consider noise-canceling headphones or suggesting a less sonically aggressive snack. Imagine the court proceedings. Your Honor, Exhibit A. This audio recording of the defendant consuming a bag of kettle-cooked potato chips. There are quieter ways to end a relationship. 41. The binge-watching betrayal. In a truly modern form of infidelity, one man divorced his wife because she committed the ultimate streaming sin. She binge-watched their favorite show without him. Skipping ahead 5 episodes is one thing. Finding out she already knows who gets brutally murdered in the season finale while you're still on episode 2? That's a level of betrayal that cuts deep. You can almost hear his heartbroken whisper, "But we were supposed to watch it together," as she casually spoils the biggest plot twist over breakfast. Some lines, once crossed, can never be uncrossed. 42. The third-person narrator nuptials. A woman ended her marriage when her husband developed the peculiar habit of narrating their everyday lives in the third person, as if he were a sports commentator calling a particularly dull game. Steve reaches for the remote, he'd announced to the empty room, unaware that this mundane action will spark a disagreement of epic proportions. She wanted a partner, not a walking audiobook of her own existence. It's hard to feel romantic when your every move is being live blogged by the person sitting next to you on the sofa. 43. The true crime conundrum. A man packed his bags when his wife's interest in true crime documentaries escalated from casual viewing to meticulous, note-taking obsession. Hypothetically speaking, what's the best way to dispose of a "never mind" became a disturbingly frequent dinner table conversation starter. He started sleeping with one eye open and checking the shed for an unusual number of shovels. She's probably now co-hosting a podcast titled Murder, Marriage, and Muffins, while he's invested heavily in a state-of-the-art home security system. 44. The Instagram invalidation. In a sign of the times that will make your grandparents weep, one woman reportedly divorced her husband because he didn't like her Instagram pictures enough, or at all. Imagine the judge trying to keep a straight face. Grounds for divorce, madam? He scrolled right past my perfectly curated avocado toast selfie, Your Honor. The disrespect. Priorities in the digital age are truly a wild ride. He's probably now double-tapping every picture he sees, haunted by the ghost of unliked vacation photos. 45. The last fry feud. Yes, you read that right. A marriage reportedly crumbled over a single, solitary French fry. Was it a magical, life-altering fry, perhaps seasoned with unicorn tears and fried in the oil of 1,000 sunsets? Probably not. If the fate of your lifelong commitment hinges on who gets the last greasy potato stick, perhaps the relationship was already on a starvation diet. I bet their wedding vows didn't include a clause about equitable fry distribution. To love, honor, and always share the fries unless it's the last one, then it's mine. 46. The automotive adoration. One woman decided she couldn't compete with a V8 engine and walked out when her husband replaced every family photo in their house with glossy portraits of his car. Vacation snaps, gone. Wedding pictures, replaced by a loving shot of his Mustang's gleaming hood. The final straw was reportedly finding a framed close-up of one of its tires on their bedside table. Trying to feel cherished when your partner clearly loves horsepower more than human connection is a losing race. 47. The monthly matrimony marathon. He divorced his wife after she insisted on recreating their entire wedding day. Every single month. We're talking full vows, rented tuxedos, invited guests, who probably started making excuses by month 3, and the same bewildered caterer. Even the priest started asking, "Are we really doing this again, Brenda?" She was probably already sending out "Save the date, again" cards for their 17th wedding in 17 months. He realized he'd spent more on monthly wedding cake than on actual life experiences. 48. The pet project management. A man filed for divorce when his wife's desire for structured family time extended to holding daily family meetings with their pets. These weren't casual chats. We're talking agendas, minutes recorded, by whom, one wonders, and a whiteboard outlining action items. She assigned tasks to their bewildered cat and dog. The breaking point? When she officially designated their goldfish as the chief wellness officer and tried to get it to sign off on the quarterly wellness report. Some things are just too much, even for animal lovers. 49. The kiss critic. He left her after she developed the deeply unromantic habit of rating every single kiss they shared. Out loud. That was a solid 6.5 out of 10. Better lip pressure than last time, but the angle needs work. Or, a bit too much tongue on that one, a 4. Disappointing. He didn't sign up for a relationship where his every display of affection was subjected to a performance review. It's hard to feel the love when your partner is essentially turning your makeout sessions into an Olympic judging event. So, 49 vows shattered by everything from taxidermy bears to bad karaoke. Now it's your turn to confess. What's the most absurd, eye-wateringly trivial reason you've personally witnessed, or, let's be honest, been tempted by, for a relationship to hit the rocks? Don't be shy. The comment section is a judgment-free zone. Mostly. If this parade of peculiar partings brought a twisted smile to your face, obliterate that like button and subscribe for your next dose of "Wait, that actually happened."